Hey guys, welcome back to Mondays at the Museum. I'm Carrie, and I'm here at the Anna Bemis Palmer Museum in York, Nebraska. Today we're going to be talking about the Bill of Rights, which was first proposed September 25th, 1789. And here we are, this many years later, and it still has such a big impact on our society. So, the Bill of Rights actually refers to the first of the 10 amendments. Currently, there are actually 27 amendments, but only the first 10 are considered as the Bill of Rights. They were adopted into the Constitution in 1791. They were added because people had some concerns about the power that the government had over people, and this sort of modified the Constitution. They protect your rights to things like speech, religion. They give you the right to bear arms. You don't have to house soldiers in your house. They limit search and seizure. They give you due process and a right to a speedy trial, and they protect you from cruel and unusual punishment. So, here are 8 facts that you may or may not know about the Bill of Rights. Fact number 1, there were actually 20 amendments to start with. The House cut it down to 17, the Senate then cut it down to 12, but only 10 were approved to move forward. And because of this, amendments 3 through 12 became the Bill of Rights, cutting off amendments 1 and 2. So what were these 2 amendments that were cut? Number 1 had to do with determining the size of House based via population. And number 2 was about determining when Congress could get a pay raise. Remember that one, we'll come back to it in a bit. Fact number 2, the Bill of Rights was inspired by the Virginia Declaration of Rights, which was drafted in 1776 by George Mason. Basically, it solidified rights, stating things like, all men are equally free and the government should be there for protection and security of the people. Fact number 3, the Bill of Rights was written by 4th President James Madison, but even he thought that it wouldn't pass, but it did 3 months after its proposition. At first, he wrote the amendments into the Constitution itself rather than add them at the end, but Roger Sherman was the one who proposed putting them at the end instead, and that is what gave them their numbers. Interestingly, they are posted in the same order as the sections of the Constitution in which they would have fit. Madison is known as the father of the Constitution and the father of the Bill of Rights. Fact number 4, the Bill of Rights didn't actually get used to protect people until it was enforced in the Gitlow versus New York case in 1925. This is because it was barely used in courts at all. People just didn't know that they had these rights. And it was finally enforced because things like unions and the things like the ACLU were established, and they started holding the government accountable. Fact number 5, the most recent amendment, amendment number 27, was added May 2nd, 1992. Remember that second proposed amendment that got axed? Yeah, it passed 203 years later. So, as mentioned earlier, it had something to do with the pay of Congress. More specifically, what passed now is that Congress can't give themselves a raise until the next election cycle, and that's basically shows if they deserve the raise or not. So what did it come back this many years later? So there's this kid named Gregory Watson who was a sophomore at UT Austin, and he wrote a paper about it, and he explained why it got axed, but why it should have been approved, and he was so passionate about it that he took it to a bunch of lobbyists, and they were able to convince 38 state legislatures to approve it. Now, he actually got a C on the paper, so kids, don't give up on your dreams. Fact number 6, the 3rd Amendment, this is the one not having to house soldiers in your personal house, is the least litigated amendment. Imagine that. I don't think people even know it is a thing. The Supreme Court has never decided a case using it. Fact number 7, Bill of Rights Day is celebrated on December 15th, even though it was originally proposed today, September 25th in 1789. That day was chosen by Franklin D. Roosevelt when he declared the Bill of Rights Day, which was December 15th, to mark the 150th anniversary of its ratification. In his speech, he says that the Bill of Rights is the most valuable document ever produced by man for the safeguarding of individual liberty. And our last fact, fact number 8, the Bill of Rights had 14 handwritten copies, but only 12 are around today, one of which is on display at the National Archives. So interestingly enough, a Union soldier from Ohio actually stole the copy from North Carolina and took it home as a souvenir, and the next day he sold it for $5, and then it just disappeared for decades. 2005, it showed up with an antique collector. He tried to sell it to the National Constitution Center, but the FBI intervened and sort of nixed that. And then it was returned to California or North Carolina. So those are your 8 interesting facts about the Bill of Rights. We are hoping to open here soon at the Anna Bemis Palmer Museum. Stay tuned to social media. And as always, if you have any comments or questions, hit me up in the comment section.